Good afternoon and welcome to our informational webinar today. As noted on your screen, we're going to keep all attendees muted throughout the entirety of the webinar so that we are able to minimize that background noise and ensure that we have a recording we can share out. We are going to take questions and we will answer those at the end of this webinar. So if you do have a question that pops in your head as we progress through and share out this information, go ahead and type that into the questions box on the right-hand side of your screen. And as mentioned, this webinar is going to be available to view within 24 hours after our broadcast today at earlylearningindiana.org. So if you need to go back and listen again, or if you want to share that with someone else, it's going to be there for you. Let's go ahead and get started. I am Natalie Brake, part of the team here at Early Learning Indiana, and I have the privilege of talking with you today about a new opportunity from Early Learning Indiana to participate in the Resilient Classroom. During our time together today, we're going to consider what we understand about early childhood experiences, introduce those of you who are unfamiliar with the Resilient Classroom to the program, and then we'll share some key details about how you could participate in this opportunity to join in the Resilient Classroom, including considerations for eligibility, participant requirements, a timeline, and how you can complete the interest form. Before we dig into the agenda, I wanted to share a little bit about who we are at Early Learning Indiana and why it is that we do the work that we do. Early Learning Indiana is on a mission to ensure that children throughout Indiana are empowered with the essential skills to thrive in kindergarten and beyond. Engaging with children in their earliest years is crucial. The first 5 years lay the foundation for all future learning. Yet there are many young learners in Indiana who are missing out during this vital period of growth. We strive to change the story through a few key tactics. First, we practice what we teach, operating a dozen early learning centers in Central Indiana and West Lafayette, where we are creating learning-rich environments for more than 1,000 children every single day. We understand firsthand just how impactful educators are in supporting development of foundational knowledge and skills that will support children's future learning. We also share what we know, empowering other organizations across our industry to improve and expand their own educational offerings. And we serve as a driving voice for system-level change to provide subject matter expertise and facilitate large-scale initiatives for the benefit of all early learning programs across our state. If you are not familiar with Early Learning Indiana and the work we do, I'd invite you to follow us on social media and explore our webpage to learn more. For now, though, let's return to the main topic of the hour. I'd like to invite my colleague, Livy Zinti, to join us. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself and her role, and then share with us more about why Early Learning Indiana is ensuring opportunities for programs like yours to equip classroom educators with the skills and understanding to promote healthy development for young children. Livy, I'll let you go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Like Natalie said, my name is Livy Zinti. I am the Social Emotional Learning Coordinator here at Early Learning Indiana, and I'm very excited to be with you all today. I'm also your guide throughout the Resilient Classroom, so I'm excited to share more. It has been a wonderful experience getting to connect with providers all across Indiana, and I'm very excited to be here recruiting for our next cohort. So let's jump into understanding more about these early childhood experiences, starting with adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs. So an ACE is a potentially traumatic event, including abuse, neglect, household dysfunction, and has actually been expanded to include poverty and racism in the past few years. So ACEs are experienced in early childhood, especially in the first 3 years of life. This has been linked to many physical, social, and mental health complications in adults, as well as lifelong outcomes such as unemployment and decreased educational attainments. So these are very prevalent. Nearly 40% of US children have been exposed to at least one ACE, and approximately 1 in 5 children have 2 or more ACEs. And I think it's especially prevalent for Indiana as well, because we see some higher numbers occurring in Indiana as compared to others throughout the United States. So this is the foundation for this program. We see the need is providing children with better experiences to try to counteract these difficult experiences and these traumatic experiences that they have gone through. So that brings us into positive childhood experiences, our way of trying to counteract and to mitigate the effects of ACEs. So a positive childhood experience can help repair the damage done by an adverse experience. And these principles, like reducing stress, building responsive relationships, and strengthening lifelong skills, are all great ways to prevent and mitigate those long-term effects of ACEs. We can see here depicted in this graph how this graph is showing us the percentage of individuals with depression or poor mental health. And we can see the more ACEs one experiences, the higher that percentage for depression and poor mental health is. But the more positive childhood experiences that they are exposed to, the lower that level of depression and poor mental health gets. You can see that downward slope there. So it's very impactful and powerful. And this need, wanting these positive childhood experiences, led us to the HOPE framework, which stands for Healthy Outcomes of Positive Experiences. And we have utilized this framework as our foundation throughout this online training program. So the HOPE framework is all about positive experiences and how they can ease toxic stress and help children grow into more resilient, healthier adults. The HOPE framework identifies ways that communities and organizations can better ensure that all children have more positive experiences through nurturing and supportive relationships, safe, stable, nurturing environments, social engagement and developing connectedness, and learning social emotional competencies. And as I've said, these are the foundations of this program, and they're actually the first few lessons that you will, go through when participating in our online program. So now that we know a little bit about the origins, let's dive into a bit more about what is the Resilient Classroom. So the Resilient Classroom was built on this foundation to strengthen positive childhood experiences. And we designed this SEL curriculum to equip educators with the skills and understanding needed to promote healthy, positive development for all children. It's all about educators having the tools in their toolbox to meet children's needs and creating a space primed for positive experiences. So just a little bit of that background there. Now diving in deeper, looking at what this training program looks like. So it is a 10-week training program, and it includes 10 hours of asynchronous instruction and 5 hours of classroom-based activities and blended online learning, with those practical applications to really put those SEL tools and skills to practice into the classroom. So we are really proud of our Explore, Practice, Apply model, which helps scaffold learning and build skills over the course of the program. So through these scaffolded experiences, participants explore these concepts, they engaged in structured skill building activities, and then they apply that knowledge into their classroom. And we have many different modules that cover a variety of topics, such as educator resilience, understanding the brain, implementing SEL strategies into the early childhood classroom, and addressing individual concerns. Moving into this image here, this really showcases our learning management system and what the online training would look like to you as a participant. We're, like I said, very proud of our Explore, Practice, Apply model, and also the interactive elements that we have included that provide a very unique learning experience for our participants in this program. Each module will contain videos, reflective questions, self-assessments, case studies, as I've said, applications, and so much more to really give you that engaging experience, even though it's online learning. So this is the program that we've built so far, but we've done this with 3 past cohorts. So let's move forward and talk a bit about the classroom impact that we've seen. So I want to start out by sharing a testimonial that was provided to us from a participating director and teacher. And she shared with us that before she started the training, my assistant teacher struggled with big feelings from our children. She felt like she couldn't meet them where they were and help them through it. Now she's calmer, she talks to them, encourages them, and lifts them up. So that is just a rewarding statement to hear that this program has made a difference in both her opinion and helped her assistant teacher really thrive. So as I said, we have had 3 different cohorts so far, and we've engaged with 60 early childhood programs in total. So we've seen this positive impact across many sites, and even 96% of our participating teachers reported successfully implementing strategies from the curriculum into their classrooms. And this is the main idea here. We want to provide applicable, practical strategies that educators can then turn around and embed in their practices. But it's not just the educators that we've seen benefiting from this program. We've also seen positive child level impact as well. And we are able to capture this through something called the Devereux Early Childhood Assessment, or the DECA. So the DECA is a behavior rating scale that provides an assessment of protective factors central to social and emotional health and resilience in children. We do ask that participating programs collect this data before they take the online training and after implementing the online training so that we are able to see student progress throughout their time in our program. Our overall hope is that this content will equip educators, make them feel more confident and ready to tackle any concerns in their classroom, but that also trickles down and it impacts the children in the classroom as well. And this is not just a data point that we ask you to collect just to gauge the effectiveness of this program. It's actually something that can be incredibly useful to your team as well in identifying child progress and providing extra support to the children that you serve. So this can be a daunting process, adopting a new assessment, but we do guide you through every step of the way. And like I said, it can be really useful to you all as well. Now I want to share a data point that we have found from our past cohorts. And when we compared post-DECA data from cohort 2 to the pre-DECA data from cohort 3, we found significantly higher scores on taking initiative, forming relationships with adults, improved self-control, and higher total protective factors than children in cohort 3 at their baseline. So this is showing us that children who had an educator that went through this program saw an impact in that child's social emotional development in many noticeable ways. So very exciting to see these results, and we just hope it continues. So I am going to pass it back to Natalie now, who's going to tell you a bit more about how to participate in the program.
Thank you so much, Livy. I appreciate really hearing about that, how this program was built, really in response to the adverse early childhood experiences and the ability and the opportunity that classroom team members have to help create those supportive, positive childhood experiences. Really important things that Livy shared there, I think, about the program, how it runs, how we're able to have you participate in it, but also the results that are coming from that and the child level and classroom level impact. The Resilient Classroom program is not a single session, a single learning opportunity that a teacher or a classroom team member has. It is really an interactive opportunity that allows them to see the progression with their children because we're looking at that assessment before and after. So now that we understand more about that, let's talk through the nuts and bolts of actually participating in this opportunity if it is something that you are interested in. First up to share is around eligibility. To be eligible to participate in the Resilient Classroom, organizations must meet the following criteria. They must be licensed, registered, or regulated program, serving children ages 0 to 5, and located in Boone, Hamilton, Hancock, Hendricks, Marion, Morgan, or Putnam counties. Through generous funding from the United Way of Central Indiana, participation in the Resilient Classroom is free of charge to the selected early childhood programs within these communities. In case you're looking at this criteria and realize you meet some but not all of the elements, I'd like to go ahead and say now that you have to meet all of the elements listed here in order to participate. I'll head it off though to say serving children ages 0 to 5 does not mean you have to be serving all of those ages within 0 to 5. It means you must be serving children who are ages 0 to 5. So if your program solely serves infants and toddlers, or your program only has pre-K, you are meeting that criteria of serving children ages 0 to 5. It also doesn't mean that you can't be serving other ages. You might also have an after-school program, but we would look for the Resilient Classroom program to be implemented within your classrooms that are serving those ages 0 to 5. If you are interested in this program based off of the eligibility and what we've said about it, you're going to need to complete an interest form to let us know that you would like to participate. Completing this interest form allows the Early Learning Indiana team to understand the context of your program and to assess how the Resilient Classroom could be implemented with your team within your classrooms. In addition to basic program demographics, such as your license or registration number, your organization name, etc., the form is also going to ask you to share the number of classrooms and children served, the number of teachers and their experience levels and tenure, information about your current classroom learning practices, information about your approach to coaching classroom team members, and your current technology that's available to support implementing this program, and any possible technology needs that would have to happen in order to support implementation. All of this information gives our team crucial insights into your program. It is okay if the answer to some of the questions is no. For example, if you don't currently conduct any child level assessments, you should tell us that. We're not looking for perfect programs. We're looking for programs that want to learn more about creating positive childhood experiences and who are willing to go through the Resilient Classroom and apply your learnings in the classrooms with the children you serve. We're going to share more about the timeline in just a moment, but it's important to note now that as I talk about the interest form, that all interest forms applications must be submitted on the application platform submittable by 5 p.m. on April 11th, 2025. This interest form can be started, saved, and submitted at a later time. So it's important to get started now and then submit on time if you want to be considered for participation in the Resilient Classroom. Let's talk a little bit more about that participation and what it'll look like. There are some set requirements for programs to participate. Let's take a look at them. All participating programs must complete a program agreement prior to beginning. This is going to outline all of the steps that you're taking so that you ensure that you understand what you're going to be doing as you participate in the Resilient Classroom. School leaders or directors are invited to join a kickoff lunch that will be hosted by Early Learning Indiana at our Indianapolis-based office on May 13th. It's a great opportunity to meet the other programs that are going to be implementing the Resilient Classroom, to talk about what's your teachers and your classroom team members are going to be going through and how you can support them throughout their journey. Then all participating educators, this is really on the classroom level in your program, must collect that child level data using the DECA in all the participating classrooms via the online DECA platform called eDECA, and share de-identified data with Early Learning Indiana for analysis. A couple of things to note there. When we say all participating educators in a program, that means if your program has 4 classrooms and 2 of those classrooms are going through the Resilient Classroom, so 2 of your classroom team members who are leading those classrooms are going through, then you need to use DECA to collect, do this assessment to collect data on the children in those classrooms. Again, remember that's both before completing the Resilient Classroom and after, so that both the teachers and you and Early Learning Indiana can see the impact the program has had for the students who are served there. To help programs be successful in their implementation of the Resilient Classroom, Early Learning Indiana is ensuring that you receive the things that are needed to be successful. That includes access to those DECA, the eDECA, allowing for you to collect that child level data up to 1 year with support from a DECA representative. So you are required to do DECA with the participating classrooms, with the children in those participating classrooms prior to implementing the Resilient Classroom, and again afterwards. but you can continue to use it for up to a year in order to continue to see growth with those children or just to build understanding from your team members in how to conduct those assessments. Early Learning Indiana will also ensure that you have access to the Resilient Classroom program, facilitated by our own expert coach, Livy, who will be there to help you along the way as you're going through. As I mentioned, we're going to have that in-person kickoff lunch with the other educators who are participating to allow you to build some of those peer-to-peer networks that can help support throughout. We're also providing new teacher safe space kits that include items to encourage educator wellness, resilience, and regulation throughout the day. And finally, we offer a $1,000 per site stipend that's issued upon completion of the program. You do get that stipend once you have turned in your final data after doing the post-assessment with your DECA. So that can help to cover the cost of any of the implementation that you incurred as you went throughout. We've mentioned a few key dates as we've gone through, but I want to look at the overarching timeline and point out a couple you'll want to keep in mind. March 19th, the interest form is opening. We will have that available for you, and we'll be sending out a post webinar email that includes this webinar, as well as includes information, direct links to the webpage, and includes the opportunity to do the interest form. That interest form is due by 5 p.m. on April 11th, and then selected programs will be notified and will need to sign their participation agreement by April 21st. Then we'll have that in-person kickoff lunch in May, and June through October will be implementation time. Remember, as shared in the participant requirements and as Livy talked about, that implementation timeframe does include collecting the child level data using the DECA in those participating classrooms before and after you're completing the Resilient Classroom modules. So that timeline there for implementation includes the pre-implementation data collection, includes completing the modules, and then does include time to do DECA again afterwards. Ensures that you have plenty and adequate time there to have your team members complete the modules, ensure that they're implementing within their classroom to do those classroom hours and activities, and then you are able to ensure that you're able to assess the children again afterwards. All right, I know we threw a lot of questions at you. I'm going to go ahead and a lot of information at you as I read the word questions in front of me. So want to open it up now for questions. If you do have a question and you have not already, and you'd like to type it into the question pane, go ahead and do that, please. I am going to go ahead and invite Livy if she'd like to come back on camera and unmute because I might have some questions for her. Let's give it just a second, see if we get some questions in here. All right, looks like Livy, looks like we got a couple questions around eligibility, so I can probably take those. Question around eligibility. We are currently participating in a program with Early Learning Indiana. Are we still able to participate in this one? Yes, if you are currently participating in any program at all with Early Learning Indiana, be that you are a recipient of an Early Years Initiative grant or you're working with us through Classroom Ready or another initiative we have, you are still eligible to participate in the Resilient Classroom so long as you meet the specific eligibility criteria for the Resilient Classroom. So if you are in one of those counties, if you are licensed, registered or regulated care and you're serving ages 0 to 5, you would still be able to apply and participate in this if you would like to. Looks like specifically asking if family childcare homes are eligible. Yes, family childcare homes who meet this criteria would be. So family childcare homes that are within these specific counties that are listed there and serving ages 0 to 5, they would be able to be part of this. Do have a question about any providers who are in counties outside of those. Currently, we are only offering to programs who are in those counties through this current expanded opportunity. So eligibility is solely restricted to those counties for this expanded opportunity. Livy, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So question was around what I said earlier, if they have multiple classrooms. So for example, like if they have 6 classrooms at their program, do they need to have all teachers and all classrooms participate, or can they choose just some of them?
It's a great question. They can choose just some of their teachers in their classrooms to participate. It is not like a one size fits all approach. If you have two team members that are eager and ready and want to jump into this program, that's great. If all of your team wants to jump in, that is awesome as well. So it's definitely open to what works for you and your site.
Excellent. How would they communicate, or is that something that the school leaders would talk with you about who's participating?
Yes, yes. So I will ask, once we kind of go through the agreements and we get your paperwork, I would reach out and connect with them and ask who is within their team wanting to participate. We get a number of children also in those classrooms. We finalize some of those details once paperwork has been submitted.
Excellent. Related question then, is this experience really geared towards new teachers, or can experienced teachers participate? Is there value for experienced teachers to participate?
I think this program is meant for anyone and everyone. I think we do a great job at really scaffolding skills, new and old. We start with very foundational content, but we really expand and build on that content. And we've heard from seasoned teachers who've said that they've learned a lot from this program as well. So I definitely think it suits a wide variety of levels. And everyone gets the chance to scaffold their skills and build up their confidence to thrive in the classroom.
I love hearing that because I do think this could be a great opportunity for newer teachers who really need to bring together these programs. I also, though, could see the ability for there to be experienced teachers who are just looking for that next step, and this could, in fact, be that next step for them. So I like the
Absolutely.
ability there to kind of meet everybody. Related question to that then is, we said that you had to be a program that served ages 0 to 5. Is this more appropriate for infant teachers? Is it more geared towards preschool pre-K? With the content in it, who is it really for when it comes to the level that they're teaching?
That is a great question and something that we were very mindful of when we were creating this program. We feel like often preschool pre-K is talked about more so in the SEL sphere, but we really made sure that we tuned in to infant toddler needs as well throughout this program. So I would say this program is for 0 to 5. We even have a module that is split up into two parts so that we can specifically dive deeper into the social and emotional needs of infant and toddlers and the social emotional needs of preschool and pre-K age students. So
Love that. Really, the ability, I think, for them to really then implement in their classroom very authentically, regardless of what their classroom is.
absolutely.
Excellent. Another question was related to professional development for this. So somebody had asked about this meeting requirements for certain educational things that they are doing. Do participating teachers receive professional development hours for their participation in the Resilient Classroom?
Oh, absolutely, they do. So, yes, at the end of your time in the program, you will be sent a certificate that will cover a minimum of 15 hours. There is the option to complete both parts in Module 4 to cover the infant and toddler social emotional learning and preschool pre-K social and emotional learning. If you do both of those, you will get 17 hours. So
Mm,
15 hours minimum for PD
okay.
hours.
And I hadn't thought about the fact that you could do both of those for both age levels, even if your classroom solely serves one age level, just to also build your understanding for the age level either leading up to yours or the age level coming next.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Um, a question on the overall timeline for participation. So, looking at the different things that you're doing, about how long it takes, and I can answer this one. Looking at our timeline for implementation, it takes about 6 full months to implement. Knowing that this is something that we are having educators take and then implement using in their current classrooms, but we have that time frame because you have the kickoff in May, ensuring there's enough time to go through and use the DECA with all the students in the classroom, do the 10 modules over that 10 week, and then still have the time afterwards. So if you are a school leader or a center director, or you are the owner of the family childcare home, it would be something that you'd be looking at that May to October range this year, that you would have some part of participation within this program. Another question around eligibility. If we have more than one location, can multiple sites apply? Yes, as long as each site is eligible. Again, if you have a site that solely serves 0 to 5 and another site that solely serves after school, if you're within those counties, only the one that serves 0 to 5 would be eligible to participate. And if you do have more than one site, you are going to need to fill out a form for our interest form for each site because we're really collecting site-specific information. I will say if you have the same approach to learning, if you use the same assessments or the same curriculum at both sites, you can copy your answers and put it on the second interest form, but that way you're able to really look at who the individual teachers are who are within there. I'm going to go ahead and do a call out for additional questions. If you have something on your mind, go ahead and throw it in there so that way we can hopefully address it here before we wrap up. A couple of questions coming in that are definitely for Livy. So Livy, what happens if you have students who withdraw or enroll during the program? Do you add or replace, or how does that work if you have maybe some different students between your pre-implementation and your post?
All that we ask in that situation, because that happens, all that we ask is that you let us know that that has happened, so that we can, you know, make a note of that when we are looking at the data at the end. It happens often too, where children are that pre-K age and they go off to kindergarten by the time your time in this program ends. So that will happen where their child will no longer be in your program. So just make note of it and make sure that we're aware. Just helps us when we're looking at the data.
Mhm. I would also note is that as part of the participation, they do get access to DECA for that entire year, which would mean that you would be able to use that for additional collection points too if you want to. So I think one of the great things is that the learnings that the educators take from participation and apply within the classroom actually doesn't end after we do the second assessment, and they're able to apply those with other students as they come in as well.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to see if we get any more questions in, but in the meantime, just want to go ahead and reiterate that if you are interested, please make sure that you do fill out the interest form. Like I said, we will be sending that out with an email that'll have the link to learn more, be able to do the interest form, get it started, get it saved, and get it submitted. Make sure that you do have it submitted by 5 p.m. on April 11th. If you do think of additional questions later, absolutely fine. You are able to reach out to us and you can contact us at educatorsolutions@earlylearningindiana.org. You don't have to remember that. It'll be in the email that you're going to be sent. It's also going to be on the web page. Tell you the truth, if you absolutely don't remember it, you email anybody at Early Learning Indiana and mention the Resilient Classroom, they're going to get it to Livy or I, and we'll make sure that we're able to answer your question before you go. So making sure that if you are interested, get that form in. We did have one more question come in, which Livy, I would love for you to be able to answer.
Mhm.
If you are in a licensed family home childcare and you don't have separate age groups or classrooms for the childcare, are you still able to do this? So if you serve like all ages 0 to 5 in yours, could you do that? Could you take the Resilient Classroom and implement it with those multiple ages?
Yes, it has been done as well. We've had a lot of home-based childcare services participate in this program, and yeah, we've seen the same impact in their programs as well. So you are definitely able and encouraged to join us.
And we do know that if you operate a licensed family childcare home, you may have after school students who join and participate within your program. Absolutely fine. We understand that that is a way of operation, but we would be looking at the core of your group that you would be looking to implement would be that 0 to 5. Does not mean if you have a 7-year-old who joins your program at some point during the day that you are completely ignoring all of their social emotional learning. We would expect that you would be attending just as you typically would to them. And if there are things that you learn throughout this that do influence your care of other ages or your interactions with adults, that would be absolutely fine as well. I think anytime we invest in understanding social emotional learning for ourselves and for the students that we serve, we can absolutely apply those learnings in many of our relationships. So.
Mhm.
All right, I think we have gotten all of the questions right now. If you do have a question that was not answered or that you'd like some more clarification on, or if you have a very specific question, you can always reach out and ask it again later. Otherwise, I would say enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see your interest forms coming in. Thanks.
Thank you.